Hi, you guys. It's Erin and Simon with Assets and Arbitrage. We're late. We on the wrong day. It's rainy outside. Everything in this little universe today is not the way it's supposed to be. But all in all, here is here, right? Um, right?
Yeah, we had a very eventful week. Sorry that we are off our normal schedule.
Weren't good events though.
Yeah, so the events that pushed us around, and we had to handle some business
Yeah,
in an emergency way,
yeah.
if you will. Um, so did you want to talk about what happened today, though, maybe, or?
So today is the day. Try not to cry.
Okay, it's okay.
That I said goodbye to my father in 2020. Um, so there's that. And then yesterday, I lost my godfather, my uncle Philip. We were very, very close. Another dog is coming. My dog is giving puppies right now, so you guys are gonna see me. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
midwifing today.
yeah, it's been an interesting week.
I'll turn it around if I don't know if that's disgusting to y'all or not, but it's life, and y'all know we're a family who loves children. Say hi. But she is right now giving birth to her puppies, so I'm on midwife duty. So I'll be a little distracted during the show. Um, but my wonderful Uncle Philip is gone. Um, he was my godfather. He was my mother and father's best friend. Married to my mom's sister, who is my auntie, my second mother, my spiritual mother, my best friend. So, not a good eventful week, but now that I have some babies here in the house, I feel better. I had never mentioned this to you guys either, but Simon and I, we lost a little one in May. That would have been our fifth baby, but so this works. If this was God's way of recompensing, I'll take it. She has six little doggies so far, but this can go. She's been giving birth since what, two?
Yeah, 2:15 is when he ran upstairs. I was like, let's
So
go
that would
home.
be four for you guys. She's been giving birth since 4 Eastern, and another one just popped out. So we're up to six. She's an Anatolian Shepherd.
Yeah.
All of the puppies look different. I don't know. None of them look like her. I don't know what dog out here went and got my little baby pregnant. So we are going to take her to get spayed. But but that's it. That's all the updates for us right now. We got 8 people in the room. I don't know if the chat's not working. I guess I'll see if it's working. Usually by now somebody's popped in the chat. But we still have some news updates for you guys. And just ignore me being distracted. But
Yeah.
we got to give you your reminders before we get started.
All right, so stay stacking, stay stacking, stay stacking, stay stacking your ounces, stay stacking your satoshis. We know there's been some price movement, some downward price movement, but we look at that as buying things on sale, right? We are dollar cost averaging. That is to take out the volatility. So when you see volatility like this, which really isn't much volatility, but for people who have got in at newer prices, it could seem a little scary. Some of the higher prices, if you got in the 70s or the high 60s, it could seem scary as you see it push down and touch. It was at 59 for a little bit. It was at 59 for a little bit, but not long. Not long at all. And now here we are. We're going to do this dance. We're going to do this dance. Like we said, there's some hedging going on as far as the CME futures exchange has been So we might have to wait for those future contracts to expire, right?
Mm-hmm.
To And so once those futures contracts expire or come to term, then you might see some more movement right there because that arbitrage will have been lost. And then they'll have to try, if they wanted to, they could do the arbitrage once again, but it had to be at a different price, which would get different price movement. These are big boys now. They're playing with big money, so it can move the price a little bit. But all in all, and when you zoom out, the chart only goes one way, right? It only
Mm-hmm.
goes up. So that is that's one of the things that we have on our side. Chart always goes up, and and that keeps us positive. I'm happy. I'm happy. I grab a little here, grab a little there, no big deal. And same thing with the ounces. They're gonna fight right there at $30. They're gonna fight at $30. Silver is gonna fight hard at 30. I thought when it blew through to 31, I think 72, it crossed that. I thought it could make 30 its support instead of resistance. But then once it got pushed back down, it turned back into its resistance. So here we are. That's what silver does. Silver gives you a fight, but remember, a few months ago we were back in the 23s, 24s with silver. So now, where we are now is a great place to be, even though it gives you a headache on a day-to-day basis as you watch this price movement. But over time, it's a lovely thing. I didn't
Um,
know if people was in the room.
no, not really.
Oh,
Usually there's about 15 people in the room by now. We're only 10
okay. There
minutes
ain't
in.
anybody in the chat that we need to say
Let
anything.
Freedom Ring. Hi. Oh, thank you so much, Let Freedom Ring. But I do have like a whole entire litter of
Yeah,
puppies filling up my living room.
yeah, it's pretty cool actually.
Um, like
Like
one literally just popped
it's
out.
like Nat Geo, National
National Geographic.
Geographic, man, right up in the living room, man. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see life come to term like that.
Um, so we don't have a lot of people in the room. It's not the typical day that we go live. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the updates that we have for you instead of waiting like we normally do. Because around the 7, 8 minute mark, we usually have almost 20 people in the room.
Hmm.
You guys just weren't expecting us today. So for the first story,
Family, yes, sir.
we want to do. Hold on a second. I just need to rearrange the way we're going to do it. Why is it doing that? Okay. All right. So let's grab it. First story is we're always talking to you guys about BRICS and the dollar. And we've noticed a plot twist within the last, I'm going to say, 2 months with the U.S. dollar.
Hmm.
The first plot twist, for those of you who may not have watched that show, was we found an article where they were expressing that while BRICS and BRICS Plus is dumping the U.S. dollar, 73 European central banks were hoarding the dollar, is the term that the
Yes,
article used, hoarding the dollar for its high yields.
yes. And notice we haven't heard anything about that since.
This is true.
Right.
Then we've shared several more articles with you explaining why BRICS may not have the impact that we thought it would have at first. And it
Hmm.
may absolutely answer our questions as to, you mean to tell me somebody's trying to usurp the dollar and America don't have nothing to say about it? And I think it's just because they've been playing their position, they didn't have to
Yeah.
respond. So I have an article here. I'm not going to read the whole article to you, but I'm just going to kind of share it. Let me make sure cousins can see it. So it says China will struggle to undo US dominance. America's economic rival had a great run, but the incumbent looks entrenched. And as usual, we always tell you look at the specific wording in the document, right? The incumbent, this is an election year. So it makes sense to use the term incumbent,
Great
looks
word.
entrenched. And for something to be entrenched, it's trapped, it can't move forward, it can't progress. So this is the wording that
Entrenched. Hold on.
mhm,
The incumbent looks
entrenched,
entrenched,
can't really do
so they
anything.
can't be moved.
Mm-mm. The hottest thing in global economics is an oldie but a goodie. This market, darling, is enjoyable and viable growth and sucking in capital from around the world. It possesses a vibrant labor market and currency that's not just a store of value, but increasingly seen as an ascendant strategic asset, right? Again, my highlighter doesn't work on this article, but ascendant strategic asset. Look at the wording, and it's not the China of yesteryear. So the lucky country is us, you guys. Even though we're in Mexico, we're still U.S. citizens. A place so often said to have been on the verge of eclipse for various reasons, such as deficits, the euro, and China seemingly, wow, inexorable climb to economic supremacy. Numerous threats have fizzled or have been proven exaggerated. So, this is the article I wanted to bring to your attention. When the BRICS propaganda was out, hitting hard and hitting heavy, we were getting signals that, we may be in trouble, especially the majority of us who our our income and our revenue is driven by US dollars. So it says there's little denying that the past few years have seen a major shift in how the relative strengths and weaknesses of the two are assessed. But for now, the US economy is in a good place, as a couple of new reports indicate. Notice how they said a couple of new reports, right? So this is now just kind of coming to the surface, being made available to us.
And also that terminology, that term right there, for now. Okay, that's not a great term.
No,
So the U.S. economy is in good shape for now. How long is for now?
that's a good question.
That 2 weeks, the 2 months, 2 years. So that doesn't show strength. The U.S. economy is in good shape for the next quarter. Okay, that would give you something like, all right, I can see that. But for now, all right, I don't know. I don't know about that. That doesn't give me a whole bunch of
Faith.
faith right there for now.
So it says, but the biggest threat comes not from outside, but has its origins in a domestic strain. Am I not able to read this article? Or maybe because I read it already, I can't see
Maybe
it.
sometimes it does that.
Oh, I think because I read it already, I can't see it.
Um,
See if the article's still up
Let me
on the
see if it's
phone.
up on here. You can get it.
I think because I read it already. But anyway, they're basically telling you at the end of the day that what China wanted to do was they wanted their yuan to not replace the dollar, but to overpower the dollar. And that's important because the yuan overpowering the dollar would show their dominance and would show their head of the table seating in BRICS Plus, right?
Yes.
So we're getting news now that, and you guys can look the article up, maybe you can read it. All of these outlets now want you to pay $100, $200 a year for these articles that other outlets put out for free. And I'm just saying, I ain't on it.
Yeah, you close it out.
Damn, I closed it out, didn't I? That's probably why I did that, because I read it and then opened it here and then closed it out.
Yeah.
So for now, the US dollar is doing well. For those of you, we know that Bitcoin is down, but it's on discount, and you definitely want to buy the dip. And you want to look to see, now that we're getting those news, how does that affect markets? How does that affect the things that you do from day to day, the things that you're invested in, and so on and so forth? Moving on, am I going to have I think I'm going to have the problem with all of my articles because I read them on my phone
Yeah, I like to
first.
keep them on the phone. I know that.
Yep. Okay. So I had a whole bunch of articles for you. I read them on the phone, and now I'm trying to do them on here, and that's not going to work. Let me get to.
Let's go.
All right. I think this says it all.
Right.
Just the title. I don't have access to any of these articles anymore, y'all. I'm sorry. I'll try to make sure I do it on my computer from now on. So the next article is what the show is actually all about. And the question is the American dream turning into a nightmare? For those of you who may be too young to remember what the American dream was, it was a family, a house, a white picket fence, 2.5 children, which means two children and typically a cat or a dog. Okay, that was the American dream. And right now, we do have more than that. We got too many kids and too many puppies. For those of you just joining the show, my puppy, I'm midwifing right now. She's pretty much got it, but I just want to keep an eye and make sure we don't lose any puppies and that they're warm and stuff like that. We have the heat light on them and the heater, but it also has a bright light like sun on them and everything. So we're just watching right now. There's 6 puppies. I feel like there's 2 more in there just looking at the size of her womb. So she's an Antonian Shepherd. She's not very big. Her puppies are teeny tiny,
Yes.
all very different. And they're kind of noisy. I'm sure those of you who got on early can hear the puppies in the background making all this noise with their little cute selves. And there's just this one. I think he's going to be my favorite. There's this one. And everybody's on mom, and he is constantly rolling over, rolling away from her, looking for her, rolling back over. Like, where's mom? Where is everybody? And we have to keep taking him and putting him back on her, only for him to roll off of her and end up far away from the litter. He's my little roly-poly right now. But we want to get to the crux of the matter, which is what the show is about. So originally, homeowners used to only have to put down 20% for a mortgage. And now they're saying, this is what Zillow's saying, that you have to put down roughly 135% or almost $128,000 just to be able to afford the mortgage for a typical house. Now, if you have $128,000 to put down, originally that was supposed to buy the house.
Yeah,
that would have bought the house cash in a not so distant world that we used to live in. So if you're putting down $130,000 just to be able to afford the mortgage on these $1 million homes that were really once $100,000, $200,000 homes, you have to know that we're in big, big trouble market-wise as far as affordability of housing. 2, we're not even in the type of economy that allows you to save $128,000 like you used to a long time ago. Back in the day of my mom and my grandmother, they used to be able to squirrel all of that 20% away, doing extra jobs, extra gigs, working extra hours, and just over the course of maybe a couple of years, they would come up with 30, 40, 50,000 in cash.
Yeah, that's
to put down on a home.
Yeah, but the dollar was worth more back then.
Obviously,
So,
yeah. That's why I said the days of. Keep in mind, my mom is over 80, right? I'm not one of the young generation whose mom is like 60. My mom is over 80. And my grandmother was born at the top of the 1900s, so you can tell how long ago that was. But we just want to bring to you, yes, they're saying for now the US dollar is doing okay. And China right now is struggling to usurp that U.S. dominance. The yuan is struggling against the U.S. dollar.
So I found the extended version of this article here back on Yahoo Finance.
Okay.
So it has some analytics, if you will. All right. So you were talking about putting away $40,000, right? So in Los Angeles, right? Los Angeles, for one of the median income household needs, you need to put down 81%. This is Los Angeles requirement. And that's $780,000 to afford the typical home and its monthly payment. And she called that percentage the highest in the nation, nearly impossible. In San Jose, they need to put down 80.9%, more than $1.3 million. This is San Jose, California.
Which means
California,
you have to have that in your pocket before even dealing with what the bank's going to turn around and give you.
yeah, so home ownership. So where does this come into play? Because I'm going to keep going down over some of these different cities. This comes into play as Bitcoin also being known as
Deflationary?
no
Oh, as property in
property in
cyberspace?
cyberspace. So now, if you got this money, you might as well get the property in cyberspace. Since they're looking to push you out of the home ownership market. And this is ridiculous. I don't know if anybody's went to buy a house recently or bought a house recently. If you could let us know, chime in. Uh, Definitely, please. In New York City, the median income household would need to come up with more than 60% of a down payment. And in Miami, they need to come up with about 64.5%. Right. So this is over 50% of what your home costs. You need to come in with the down payment. So really taking away the idea of having a home, like she said, and your first starter home and all that, man, those days seem to come and gone. Okay, so a median income household in Seattle making around 116,000. So if you're making $116,000 a year, you would need about $462,000 to lower the debt enough to comfortably afford the monthly payment on typical home worth almost 753,000. So these are the numbers we're playing around with, and I don't know what happened to the homes that were 150,000, 200,000. All the
Mm-mm.
you say they went away.
They're gone.
And you remember the days, and when we was looking for houses, but this been back in the day. You can go to Ryan Homes or something. Or it was I can't remember the other one. And you could build your home. You start out $90,000,
Mm-hmm.
and you start building your home out. That's once you start adding the doorknobs and what do you call it, the finishings?
The finishings.
Yeah. You get beat up with the finishings, but you get the house. They call it white. I think they call it a green frame.
Mm-hmm.
Green frame. When you try to go across internationally, you try to buy some property, you can buy what they call the green frame and white frame. You guys check me on that, but one of them is framed out, and you got to go ahead and put all the finishings on, and so that can become expensive, more expensive than you think. So what are we talking about here? Home ownership, is it dead? I mean, do you have to leverage everything you had? And now that people are coming out of college with so much school debt, the debt to income ratio, it looks really bad when you try to go, get a loan to do anything. And that's why we have to find different ways and have different ideas of what we're going to be doing, because everybody can't be homeowners. They get on you. Sometimes you have to rent. Sometimes it's more advantageous for you to rent.
But at this point, that's what people are going to do. You're noticing the rise in extended families
Sorry,
living
she's okay.
together. The extended families living together, these more cooperative economic situations amongst family members, friends, because the affordability of both rent and home ownership seems so far out of the realm of possibilities for the average person, because what wages are going up to afford the mortgages for these houses
Mm-hmm.
with these down payments that who has them?
Right.
I mean, we used to make a joke back in the day. Simon and I used to watch HGTV, and it would be an artist and a carpenter, and they're about to buy this $972,000 home, and Simon and I would just look at each other like, "But how, Sway? Like how?" And I know when y'all watch HGTV, you would see those scenarios where you have no idea
Uh-huh.
how these two people, whatever it is they do, right, how they're able to afford this big, massive, beautiful home, plus the do-it-yourself renovations
Yeah.
that they did to it when they come back to see it and stuff
And
like that.
obviously, they don't show us the after. So did they keep the home? What went
Right.
wrong? Was there financial stress and strain? So these are things that you have to just keep in mind. We have to kind of like level set this and have a maybe new outlook on what we really see as home ownership and how we want to use it, right? Because what they're telling you from the old generation, the boomer generation, maybe even before that, silent generation, they're telling you, you go to college, you get out of college, you buy a house, right? This is how you start your life off. But if you follow those directions right now, you'll be six figures in school debt,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll be incredibly deep in home debt, and you're only what, 24, and you have no more options. You have no other options.
Mm-hmm.
You got 30 years to pay this thing off. You can't sell it. What they usually say, you can't sell it, between 10 and 15 years before you even get a
Because
profit.
you'd be upside down.
Yep. So now we got to wait 10 to 15 years to even try to sell it. Maybe break even, maybe get a little something for it, only to go where? That's the thing. So, they're having a little situation over here with the puppies.
Yeah, I'm getting away, but the floor, the ceramic floor,
Yeah, it's cold. Yeah,
it's cold.
so
That's why you hear them screaming.
So yeah, we have to revisit this stuff, especially us, man, who might be telling our children who are coming up, teenage years, getting in their early 20s and ways how to start off their life. Maybe not give that advice that comes from a boomer generation point of view, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we have to really figure out. That's why we say gold, silver, right? If you can't, I used to say this and I'll still say it. If you can't afford to own your home, you have your gold, you have your silver. Treat it like you were paying a mortgage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every month, make sure you go and buy a certain amount of silver and gold. And it doesn't have to be a mortgage amount payment, but go ahead and make sure you put that on there. Same thing with Bitcoin. It doesn't have to be a mortgage amount payment, but make sure that you buy it diligently every month, like you would pay your mortgage, right? Like it was a bill. This is a bill. You paying a bill to yourself, right? If it's $250 a month, then boom, I'm gonna make sure every month $250 is down on my Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's my property in cyberspace, right? Michael Saylor says, look at it as 21 million blocks in Manhattan, and once they're gone, they are gone. So yeah, and that's one thing with that. You guys want to chime in, please? I would love it. I would love to hear what you guys think about that, because it's getting kind of difficult out here, man, and they're putting a squeeze on, what I like to say, they're putting a squeeze on people. And so, okay, just read some of the comments that they
Oh,
have.
just let Freedom Reign said hello, express his condolences. BK
Thank you, sir. Thank
Crypto.
you, sir.
Michelle, thank you so much for joining. But it's quiet in the room today. 16 cousins. World's strongest currencies benchmark to the US dollar. Let's make sure we can actually look at it. Okay, we can.
Yeah.
We can look at this one.
Hmm.
But my little babies are getting away. Hold on a second.
Yeah, this article here. Did you share it, or I'll just go over
It's
it?
shit. Yeah, I just made sure that they can see it.
Thank you. Yes, dollar cost averaging. What's up, family? OC Benji. OC Benji, what's up? What's up? Nothing here but a dreary Tuesday.
Yeah, it's real dreary. It's rainy season.
Yeah, it's rainy season, so all our sunny days have gone away.
Okay. World's strongest currencies benchmark to the US dollar. We know. So they're saying one Kuwait dollar equals $3.25. for us.
Right.
That's pretty.
Yeah, check. You got to read. Sometimes you got to read what's in there, or you can just read over the overview.
Uh,
No, underneath the dollar, like yeah, the Kuwait dollar.
so the Kuwait dinar, the dinar, is acknowledged as the most valuable currency in the world. In the world, you guys. Oh, my highlighter's black, so that doesn't help. Including the country's steady economy, which is fueled by significant oil exports. Kuwaiti's dinar fixed exchange rate, which protects it from market fluctuations. Hey, political stability, which draws in foreign investment, and the Central Bank of Kuwait's strict control over the currency supply. Now, did you guys hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Look at what they use. Kuwait's strict control over the currency's supply. Not like our Federal Reserve, who has control over our supply, but it is not strict. And that's probably why one dinar is worth $3.25 US cents. The Bahraini dinar, that's different. It's used only in Bahrain, of course, and is fixed to the US dollar. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Relatively substantial expat presence, really, comprising a sizable Indian population, makes the Bahraini dinar the second strongest currency in the world. But notice that these are all Middle Eastern. Is it because of the oil? It has to be.
Yeah, because it was a shift, right? You seen
Mm-hmm.
the shift, and it took about 30, 35 years, but and you will see, and that's why you have to keep El Salvador on the map because they're trying to do the same shift to the Western world, to the Western Hemisphere, where there's a shift with the geothermal energy. Like oil is a petroleum energy, you will have a geothermal energy from those volcanoes over there.
Mm, let's skip over to the British pound. Notice the British pound and it is not the euro. It's very different. I've heard several people use them simultaneously, and I realized that they didn't realize that they're two different
They're two different things.
currencies.
The euro will become up in the end of this.
um, so it's also the oldest currency still in existence, isn't it?
It's the oldest currency in existence, and it's lost about 99.5% of its value.
And even with that, it's still just a dollar to. I'm sorry, uh, British pound or a pound to
Yeah.
$1.26.
Yes, once when it became a currency, it was worth 12 troy ounces. Do you hear that? 12 troy ounces. So do for the quick part, do 12 times 30. What's 12 times 30? Real quick, $360.
Oh,
So that should be $1 to $360. You see that? And what is it?
one to $1.26.
That's how much. There you go. That's how much of the value it's lost. That's why it's 99% down.
But the UK standing as one of the largest nations in the world in terms of GDP contributes to its resilience and strength, and that's why it is still in existence to this day. Gibraltar.
Yeah, the Rock of Gibraltar. Y'all ever been there?
How could you falter? Had to get off the boat so I could walk on water, which is probably blasphemous now that I think about it.
Don't eat all the food, man.
They're gonna eat all the food.
Because I didn't eat it today.
Is tied to the British pound sterling, making it comparable to the latter. And again, so you can see the Gibraltar pound and the the British pound is the same. So the Cayman Islands. Now, funny story. Simon took me to the Cayman Islands. Was it? It wasn't a honeymoon.
I've been in the Cayman Islands. It was a long time ago.
But it wasn't for honeymoon. Anyway, we went there for some reason. He took me there.
One of her many cruises she cannot remember that she's been on.
And I thought the Cayman Islands sidewalks were going to be paved in gold, y'all. Thought the trees were going to have diamonds hanging from it. That place looked crazy. It does not look like a place that has so much money hidden in all of these little different places inside of the Cayman Islands. Whenever you watch a movie, that's where the money's being wired to, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the big heist
old school,
and stuff like that. And it's like, I thought the island would have had more of like a Dubai kind of look. You know what I mean? Like a Abu Dhabi kind of look. And it doesn't. It looked like It looked worse than any of the islands you could possibly come to. So I was shocked by that. I was actually very disappointed. Numerous businesses, investment funds, and financial institutions are found on the islands thanks to the favorable tax laws, sophisticated banking infrastructure, and strong regulatory framework. But they don't use none of that money to build up that island.
At least back then. This has been a while. We haven't been
So
there.
I'm just saying, the Swiss franc is one Swiss franc to $1.12. It's highly regarded globally. Here goes the euro, you guys. There was it last year or 2 years ago? It wasn't that far back that we met parity with the euro.
Yeah, that was last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah, it's close to parity right there.
It's close, but we had actual parity. This is due to the fact that the official currency of all EU members, each one has its own economic policy. However, the European Central Bank is in charge of the monetary policy and price stability in the area. The bank has managed inflation carefully in order to preserve the stability and dependability of the euro. Obviously, the US dollar. It comes in at number 10 on the list. This is due to the country's low interest rates, trade imbalance, and higher than average rate of inflation. Again, this is very, very important. Higher than average rate of inflation. However, it is one of the major participants in the world currency market, well known for its extensive trading and role as the main reserve currency because of its dominance in both politics and the economy, but they really should say their dominance in weaponization. Notice they didn't add that. And then we're going down. We have Singapore. I don't have to read all of it to you guys, but Canada. So $1 in Canada is worth 73 cents.
Yeah, so below
Meaning,
parity.
if you go to Canada, you are spending way more money than probably necessary due to the currency exchange, right? Like the Australian dollar, it's a commodity currency whose value is strongly correlated with the price of crude oil on a worldwide scale. And then we know that their export goods are wood vehicles, petroleum, gas, gold, and obviously crude oil. Australia, you're going to spend a lot of money. New Zealand, Qatar, and that was it, right? I think they gave 5 above and 5 below, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, five. And so with the US dollar is if you're using it as the benchmark, then that would be parity if you got 1 and 1. And then anything above is above parity. Anything below is below parity.
So right now for us, since you guys now got to see that chart, and I know you guys aren't used to seeing the money like that because you don't have to check it against anything. But I'm going to show you, this is the chart that we look at every single day. Every day we wake up, we have to look at this chart so that we can kind of see how we're going to spend. So even the way we spend here in Mexico is strategic. Right now, we've been doing really well since the election. 2 months ago, this was down to about 16.15, which means 16 pesos make up $1. When we first got here in 2017, 2018, we were almost up to 23, 24 pesos.
No. We got here with 17.
When we got there, it was 17, but in 2018, it went all the way up.
Yeah.
That's why I said 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
Went up to about 23 pesos, 23, 24 pesos per dollar. So we were experiencing or enjoying a very high discount.
It was living high on the hog.
It's June 25th, so you guys know that the first is coming around. And Simon and I, we keep our eye on this because that's typically when we have to pay for the property and the car and stuff like that.
And also, it is the beginning of the third quarter.
Yeah.
So, you could see some things moving and shifting come July 1st. So be prepared for July 1st, which is only,
5 days away.
Yeah,
6 days away.
6 days away. And that is the beginning of the third quarter, the second half, the beginning of the second half, which is very important.
Okay. Last news alert, you guys. We're barely making 20 cousins for the top of the show.
Oh, that's all good.
Okay. The top 5 largest economies in 2028. Why are we showing you this? We're showing you this because many of you have expressed um, a desire to try to do some flag planting.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Sam and I are working on a resource for you guys. It's a book that Assets and Arbitrage will be publishing, extending on the 5 flag theory that has been espoused by Andrew Henderson and Harry D. Schultz. Harry D. Schultz did the 3 flag theory. Henderson from Nomad Capitalist has expanded on that to the 5 flag, and Simon Family Investment Ventures has further expanded on that, adding some other very critical areas that people should be aware of. I think it ends up into 8 or 9 flag theory.
Mm-hmm.
So, top 5 economies, things that you guys, like we said, this weekend is going to be third quarter. You guys should be planning your third quarter objectives, goals, etc. Just kind of jot this down in your notebook if you are one of the people who were saying, I do want to plant flags in other places. I just don't know what those other places are. Kind of keep these things in mind. Top 5 largest economies in 2028. Keep in mind, we are 6 months away from 2025. So 2028 will be here in no time. Okay. So they said China. Our panelists forecast Chinese GDP at 25.1 trillion, or roughly 72% of the U.S. GDP in 2028, compared to 76% in 2021 and 66% in 2023. So you can see that. Notice that the original article said for now, right?
Okay.
And we are starting to see what for now really means. Convergence with the U.S. has gone into reverse in the last 2 years due to a weaker Chinese yuan, rapid economic growth in the U.S., and the fact that China's economy has been hampered by COVID-19 restrictions, crumbling property market, political frictions, and regulatory uncertainty at home. Okay, we don't have to read all of it. You guys can find this on Chrome, which is what I'm on right now. India. So it says India is set to become the world's 3rd largest economy by 2028, with nominal GDP of 5 trillion, overtaking both Germany and Japan. Growth will be spurred in the coming years by surging consumption, investment from both domestic and foreign firms, and exports. Now, keep in mind that the first country was China, the second country is India, and India is part of BRICS
BRICS.
Nation. All right, moving right along. Germany is projected to overtake Japan as the world's 4th largest economy from 2023, due largely to the recent weakness of the Japanese yen relative to the euro. By 2028, our consensus forecast is for Germany to boast nominal GDP of 5.6 trillion. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind these are just forecasts, right?
Yes.
So they're watching it. They're probably very accurate forecasts, but a
Yes,
forecast nonetheless.
Yeah, people get paid a lot of money to do these, but they are just forecasts.
Japan will slip to become the 5th largest economy, which is what we just read, that Germany would overtake it. Japan will continue to lose relative economic clout compared to both high income and emerging market rivals. A shrinking population will feed throughout to anemic growth of just 1% on average, by far the lowest in the G7. Now, you guys have to understand Japan has a very odd culture right now. Extremely odd. They are way below replacement at this point.
Okay.
With the amount of citizens that these young ladies don't want children, they can't find mates, the men don't want the women. We're not really sure what's going on there. And keep in mind, Tokyo was supposed to be the world's most densely populated city, wasn't it?
It was last that I checked.
So that's odd. Right? So it says, while developed countries will continue to dominate the list of the world's largest in the coming years, emerging markets, particularly India, will move up the rankings. The days of a world economy dominated by the U.S. and the West will increasingly give way to multipolar world, with the U.S., the EU, China, and India as its 4 key lodestars. This will have a profound impact on a host of areas such as international trade flows, geopolitics, and the makeup of global financial institutions such as the IMF and the World Bank. Doop, doop, doop. And that's pretty much the end of that focused article.
Yeah. So
That was really all we had for you. We're at the 44-minute mark. So the show's about 45 minutes with the news updates, looking at the economy, looking at how unaffordable the housing market is at this time. But one of the things we did want you to take away from it is we just have to shift, right? A lot of people typically aren't solution oriented, right? People typically look to a person or persons in order to come up with the solution to whatever their dilemma is. So that's something that I think we need to adjust and change here in the digital age, the digital era. Two, tradition. Tradition can be a killer. Doing stuff the way they did it because that's the way it's always been done is a killer. And people don't understand the different turnings and the different cycles of the universe. Okay, we're coming to a cycle where we're moving into a digital age. So you're noticing the significant glitch, I would call it, in the matrix when it comes to brick and mortar things. We're not in a physical society anymore. We are moving towards a digital age, a digital era. And to me, that is third dimension speak for spiritual age, spiritual era. You have to do something different. You have to adjust. If Bitcoin is property in cyberspace, basically a digital property, then you just adjust your objectives and your tradition to putting money down on that. Right? That would be one of the most innovative solutions for you to come up with. I don't know where you're going to get the down payment from to begin with, right? I would like to read more about where are these people getting these down payments from.
If you're gonna just squirrel it away, best that you can.
$128,000.
Well, you can squirrel it away over. There's no time. You don't have a timetable to it. So
Understood, right? But I guess my thing is, if you can squirrel away $120,000, think about how much money you would make on that if you were squirreling away in Bitcoin instead of handing it over to a bank and then owing them the money now that you owe them. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just thinking about things differently and adjusting in your new digital world, right? This is a digital world and it requires digital solutions to its digital problems. Then instead of putting a down payment on a home, I'm going to put that down payment or squirrel away that down payment for my property in cyberspace, which is an asset right now. Remember, real property is a liability until it is somehow income generating. And that's the thing the average person misunderstands. They think when they buy the house, well, this is an asset. No, it's not. It's a liability right now. You owe a mortgage on it. You got to keep the homeowner's insurance on it. You got to take care. You on the hook for everything that go on in that house. Water heater, fridge, mold in the walls, flooding in the basement, plumbing not working properly. I mean, I can go on and on. The roofing, the gutter's not working right, and now the leak is leaking inside the house and ruining the foundation. It is a liability until it provides some type of income, until it is an income generating property or asset in a sense. It is a liability, a huge liability. For some people, it's a money pit. And you often hear people use that term. This is an arbitrage. This is a money pit. And you're noticing how it's just sucking money out of your pockets. Bitcoin is an asset right now. Now, does it have market fluctuations? Yes, just like anything has market fluctuations. But if you did the performance of this property, this asset, this commodity, and it's a tier one commodity, if you do the performance of it from its inception to now, you can see the gains that can be expected in your own forecast. Do that with the housing market. Even if you said my house is an asset today on June 25th, 2024 at 8:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, who can you sell it to?
Right, because remember, your house is only worth as much as somebody's willing
willing
to
to buy
pay for
it.
it, right? You see these articles. Michael Jordan's house is still on sale for what, 15 years?
From
From back when he was in the Chicago days.
yeah,
Can't sell his house. It's Michael Jordan's house. But these houses are too customized. And people who have that type of money want their house to look the way they want their house to look. Not it's cool that it was Michael Jordan's house, but
but a lot
I
of
want it
them.
to look like my
Tommy
house.
Hilfiger, remember his apartment in Central Park?
Yeah, that thing was over $60 million.
I think it's still on the market. I mean,
Oh,
and those are like big dog
that one
houses.
we watched, he got it. They got him all the way down to 20.
And somebody bought it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but look how far down that is. Bang, bang, bang. That's
How much money he lost
yeah.
just trying to offload it,
Just trying to offload it.
right? Paper hands took a huge loss because just give it away at this point. But that's big dog houses. We're talking about a house that any Joe Bag of Donuts should be able to afford. It's completely unaffordable. You mean tell me this 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath house is worth $2.5 million because it's in California?
Yes.
That's crazy. There was a time that house was probably worth $42,000
Yes.
because that's how old it is. Think about what we're saying,
Yeah.
right? I tell you guys all the time, the house that my parents bought for $80,000 sold for almost $450,000. It's $80,000 house. Now, granted, my dad did a lot of renovations and stuff to the house to keep it up and stuff like that. And then when they bought it, they did some big dog stuff with it. Ain't no telling what that mortgage actually was.
Mm.
That's what they bought it for, but that's not, telling because they added a whole story onto it. So it's like 3 or 4 stories now, something real nice.
And then,
And but the question is who's going to buy it? And then you have people say, well, I could take a home equity line of credit out on this. Says, yeah, but you back in debt. So now it's a liability. Even though you got that lump sum of money from the home equity line of credit, it is now a liability to you because if you don't pay that home equity line of credit back, now they could put a lien on the home that you almost owned had you not taken out the home equity line of credit and didn't pay it back. Y'all see like that circular, but this is my house. Yeah, but not really. You took out this, now it's our house for $22,000, something ridiculous that they would turn and sell to BlackRock for
right, because once they want their money, they'll sell your house for anything.
pennies on the dollar.
As long as they get their money.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you get forced to sell, and like she said,
But they
pennies
can
on the
sell it
dollar.
immediately because they have ties into like BlackRock and those companies that
It's
are buying up. You don't have access to them.
Yeah, so it's an ugly game,
But they
man.
have access.
It's ugly outside. It's ugly when we gotta stay focused, and that's what Bitcoin is. Stay focused, man. Stay getting your property in cyberspace. Cyberspace. That's where you want property at, right?
Let freedom ring said buy Bitcoin, dollar cost average, Bitcoin avoid all of those problems.
Yes,
But there are
that's
problems
definitely
let freedom ring that a lot of people are unaware of because they do stuff the way they mommy did it. They do stuff the way dad did it. They do stuff the way Big Mama did it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because nobody taught them anything new. And it's odd, right? I said to Simon, in a country where I think third grade is the average education that the citizens here get
Yeah.
or make it to. Let me say that, make it to. Right? Everybody's on their phone all the time. You go to the supermarket, they're all on their phone. You go to the bakery, they're all on their phone. You go to the butcher, go to the candlestick maker, they're all on their phone. And nobody utilizes this phone for any type of self-education in order to get them up out of poverty.
Yeah.
It is the weirdest thing ever. So we are guilty of that too. We feel like, oh, well, we graduate from high school. We the most graduated. We the most enrolled. We're this, we're that, we're the third. But how many of us whose phones are literally attached to their body, right? They can't even like get up and walk 10 feet away from grabbing their phone and bringing it with them to go to the kitchen to get something to drink. We don't live like that in this house. I don't play that. And don't utilize the phone as a resource to help get yourself to a higher level, to help
It is a
get
super.
yourself, go ahead,
It is a supercomputer.
right? The solutions you need to the problems that you encounter on a day to day basis, just as an adult, as a human being, financially, emotionally, spiritually. And I'm not talking about just YouTube University, I am just saying in general.
In general, and let me say something about this. We've been in Mexico a very long time, and what we understand is one big barrier for them as far as you're talking about schooling is language. If you were able to learn English, that is a huge barrier here in Mexico, where you can go from one level to the next level. Right? You go in these places like these smaller towns where we are, and you walk around, nobody knows English. Not one person knows English at all. And that's a barrier, because then you'll speak to some people who know English, and they have been places and they have done things and they've used the ability that they can speak English, to then level up and do other things. So that's just a small barrier, just learning a new language, but learning a language that matters, a language of what? Commerce and
It's the
trade.
language of merchants. It's
So
the
you want
merchants'
to,
language.
education is the language of law,
Hmm.
so that you know certain things. But without that language, then you're kind of out of the loop. And telling people to learn your language is kind of almost silly and ridiculous, because your language, no disrespect, doesn't mean anything in the big scheme of things.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, when somebody's trying to do a big deal in Dubai, it doesn't matter if they speak Spanish.
Mm-mm. And they're likely doing it in English.
Exactly.
So little stuff, little things like that. It's also why we have the opportunities that we have at our fingertips. We happen to be born in the right place at the right time. Um, and you want to take advantage of those opportunities. And that's why we often talk about flag planting.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys go ahead, do your own research. That was the that was the lesson I learned watching Players Club, right? That resonated with me heavy when Dinah kept saying, Diamond, when Diamond kept saying, do your own research, right? She was supposed to be going to school as a journalist, ended up stripping to pay tuition when she could have just asked her father for it. It was just a weird movie. But do your own research, right? Yes, we pull up these great articles. We do have our watch list tuned, just to keep us informed. But then now that we do the show, whatever, we share it with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But it's uber important that you're not only keeping up with Bitcoin news, you need to keep up with your economic news, whether it's the United States, whether it's China, whether it's Bangladesh, right? Because we now live in a digital global economy. And what that means is you are one cyberspace click away from this event happening on this side of the world affecting right at your doorstep. So you always want to be prepared and ready and knowledgeable in what's going on, because remember, all of these things affect the dollar that you use every day.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are in the United States. You typically don't engage in any type of currency exchange. Many of you listening have never, ever had the experience of engaging in any type of currency exchange. When you go on vacation, you're using your dollar wherever you go on that vacation. You're not going to a currency exchange place and understanding the rate and the rape that comes along with
Yeah.
exchanging your money for theirs and so on and so forth. I'm going to tell you something. When you guys come to Mexico, you come visit your cousins in Mexico City, we meet up with you, and you say, okay, we want to go, we want to change some dollars for pesos. All right. A fast way to do that, if you were too scared to go to the currency exchange place, is to the ATM, right? Easy breezy. The ATM has in it a what I call a foolproof way to make extra money. So when you're going through the ATM prompts, always remember, when you do any type of currency exchange through your bank's going to charge you, and the bank of the visiting country is going to charge you. What Mexican banks have is a second way to charge you. They will politely ask, would you like for us to do the conversion for you, they're going to do the conversion for you anyway. You don't have to pay additional 12% for them to do the currency exchange. And people who are not from here and don't know how that works always click yes. So now your bank took the money, their bank took the money, and the ATM that you use took the money twice. Right? Charge you an extra 12% on top when you do have the not privilege, but you do have the option, is the word I'm looking for, to decline that additional 12% markup. But the fact that it's in there, it always catches Americans because they don't know that they can decline it. They think if they decline it, they won't be able to move on with the transaction, similar to declining whatever the ATM fee is. Mm-hmm. So I just want to kind of show you these little things when you're flag planting. These are little itty bitty things you want to keep your eye on. When I went to El Salvador, there is no currency exchange because it is $1. But the markup for me to take money out of the El Salvadoran ATM was nuts.
Yeah, to have the dollars. And so
when we could have just brought a few more dollars with us.
No. But that's not true. Because we're not in the United States. We don't have access to $500.
That's what I'm saying, though, because we didn't have access. But if we'd have brought extra dollars with us, we'd have been fine, right? So when you guys are going to visit El Salvador, you bring the cash with you. Don't say to yourself, oh, they use dollars there, I can just go use the ATM. Nope. Don't do it, because they know when foreign money come, we gonna make some good money. So little things, these are little things we're gonna have in the book to kind of hip you in ways that these countries find all of these little ways. Remember, little dirty build big dam, right? A little bit of dirt will build a big, huge dam and stop up the Colorado River. So you want to be hip to all of these little things, and to find these things out a lot. Sometimes it's just a little bit of research on your phone. Mm-hmm. And this is what, I did all of that, landing the plane now, to just tell you guys, if we utilize our supercomputers, if we treated them like they were supercomputers and not modules of entertainment, we would have different outcomes. Right? Simon and I, we don't do Netflix, we don't do Hulu. I'm not telling you there's anything wrong if you do it, but we utilize our supercomputers as that, a supercomputer. Somehow, some which way, shape, or form, my laptop or my cell phone or my iPad needs to be some type of productive tool for me, a productive resource for me to up level in some which way, shape, or form. Does it mean that I don't scroll Facebook from time to time? No, I do it from time to time. But remember, the psychologists are now saying that the average person will spend up to 20 years of their life scrolling. You want to get that under control. When my time is up and I go to meet my maker, nobody's going to be able to go on file and say Erin spent 20 years of her life scrolling Facebook. Yeah. It would be an outright lie. So you want to also make that stat a lie for yourself. You don't want to become part of that statistic. You want to be that outside of the bell curve statistic who now sees their cell phone as a means of opportunity, as a tool of resource, as equipment, as a supercomputer, and not as something to do when I'm bored. Something to do because I don't know how to sit by myself and my thoughts. Mm-hmm. Right? And we're your cousins, so we just giving you real game. We're giving you the truth about things, the truth about your reality. And we really appreciate you guys. We finally got about 26 cousins in the room. Let Freedom Ring said only 10% will get it. Isn't that where the 5% nation came from? Because only 5%. Only
10% no, but
10% no, but only 5% tell, or something like that.
You use it or something. I forget
the guys of the universe.
How you exactly put it, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Most people won't get it though, and
it's not that they won't get it. Let freedom ring. They're not interested in it,
and that's okay.
Because human beings are very intelligent. I remember in Men in Black, Will Smith was sitting next to, what's my man's name?
Well, Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee. He was sitting next to Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones or just Tommy Lee?
Tommy Lee. Yeah, Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee Jones.
I think it's Tommy Lee Jones, and then Tommy Lee is Pamela Greer's husband or whatever. Anyway, sitting next to him. And he was like, how come everybody don't know about the aliens and yada, yada, yada? You know, people are smart. And Tommy Lee Jones looked at him and said, a person is smart. People are stupid. And they like to be comfortable in the lie that they live in, right? I'm not quoting the movie, but he did say people are stupid. I would never say people are stupid because they're not. People are wildly disinterested in things that are productive, right? The minute you have a piece of gossip for them, right? You got some tea you gonna spill that don't have nothing to do with nobody, ain't nobody's business to begin with. That's when you see interest begins to peak.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start talking about the economy and political stuff gets people interested because they just want to argue.
They get them riled
And
up.
I'm for the geopolitics because it is tied into economics.
Mm-hmm.
It's tethered to economics. They're like this, right? But I'm not for the if you vote for Trump, vote for Trump. If you voting for Biden, vote for Biden. I don't care. I ain't gonna sit there and argue with you about either one of their positions.
Chucks
But
and
that
pearls.
that gets people very interested and ready to argue with you in a heartbeat. You would have the sweetest mom of a kindergartner. She bakes cupcakes and cookies.
Yeah,
Say
yeah.
something bad about the person she trying to vote for.
Say something about Chucks and pearls, so she can get upset.
She gonna Mortal Kombat reach in, grab your throat, spinal cord still attached. Finish him.
Chucks and pearls, y'all.
So, politics have people interested. And they love that, right? They use that. They like getting people fired up. It's getting dark, y'all. Normally, I would turn the light on, but some of the puppies are feeding and the other ones are falling asleep. And she's exhausted from giving birth. Oh, God, I think there's still like 2 more in there.
6.
What am I supposed to do with all these dogs?
Mm-hmm.
And this is Mexico, so if anybody hop in the chat and say you could sell them and make lots of money, that's not how that works here.
Now you thinking Asia? We can sell them
No,
and make lots of money.
no,
I see what you did there.
I don't want them selling my dog at the Chinese buffet. No. But
Junior eat it.
Mommy will figure something out. I didn't even know she was pregnant. I don't know. I've just been so busy and occupied that Simon had to come to me last night and he said, I think your dog is pregnant. This is last night. And I looked at him, I said, what? He said, I think your dog is pregnant.
I said, I'm pretty sure I know she's pregnant.
So I didn't say anything. I just said, okay, I've been feeding her and everything. Now, my dogs, they like to be outside. She's in here because she's giving birth, but has she not given birth? She'd have been pawing at that door hours ago, like, let me back out. And they have a big property to run on and play on and stuff like that. So they love it out there. But she's a little itty bitty dog, so we didn't even notice anything. But I guess when they dropped, Simon was able to see and notice. And sure enough, today she gave birth. So for 2 months, y'all, I've been that busy that I did not notice that my little doggy was pregnant. Imagine that. And I don't know what I'm going to do with 6, 8 puppies. And like I said, we can't sell them. And I don't know about giving them away because everybody here has a dog or a cat or a cow or a sheep, right? Like everybody has animals here. So that's not we'll figure it out. But we love y'all and we are going to. So what we're going to do this week, I'm sorry, babe, because we're off course. I'm so sorry. Because we're off course, we did the show Tuesday. We're going to meet again on Thursday and Saturday. And then we'll get back on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. I'm glad that we can be flexible like this. I know it threw the cousins off because it took forever to get it up to the 20s. Nobody expected us to be on. But we will be
catch us on the replay if you can.
Thursday.
Would like to definitely go live on Q3 beginning, but it doesn't have to be because Q3 probably won't begin till what?
I'm gonna tell you in a minute.
The 5th,
it's a Monday, so we have a show on Monday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay,
the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th.
So Q3 on Monday.
Yep.
That works perfect. They love that.
So definitely spend your weekend planning how you're going to be productive. What are you going to achieve in Q3? You don't have to have 25 goals, right? Just do one.
And for all my people out there, my sports people, football people, stuff like that. We're coming out of halftime. It's like you went to halftime, got the little speech, and then boom, we come out in the third quarter. And, depending on how quarter 1 and 2 went, you may just keep with the game plan, like, okay, things are moving swimmingly and we're going to keep with this. Or it's been rough, we got to switch it all the way up. So
we gotta ramp up.
That's that's what they do. What they call halftime adjustments, right? So we have halftime adjustments. See what you're gonna do. You need to evaluate. Really take time to evaluate your quarter 1 and 2, your first half. Evaluate it strongly. That way, you see how you're going to come out and do
Sorry.
With quarter 3 and quarter 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just a little bit like change, but we're ending it. So
Bye, y'all. We love you.